What's up, YouTubers? JUICEBOXMERC, I'm back again. Thank you for joining me for this commentary. This is a domination game on grid. Hope you enjoy. I want to talk to you guys about nostalgia and influences that kind of shape me as a person. And I hope you guys can see some similarities between my influences and yours. And tell me some of yours. Leave some comments. Let me know what some of your influences were. And if you see some of the same stuff, or if you agree with me. But kind of throughout my childhood, I grew up watching cartoons, of course, because my mom was either working and there was nothing else to do, and I had friends, of course, when we went outside and played. But sometimes early in the morning you get up and watch cartoons. And some of my favorite cartoons that I always watched were stuff like Rugrats and Doug and Hey Arnold and Angry Beavers. And these are all, I mean, they're all great back then. Doug is still great. I argue that Doug is still awesome. But I went back and kind of went through a category and went through Netflix and started watching. So I watched some Rugrats and I watched some Angry Beavers, watched some other stuff like that. And Angry Beavers kind of holds up, and Hey Arnold is still pretty okay. But I watched some of the episodes that I firmly remember that are stuck in my brain, and they're not as good as I remember them. I think it's because I'm older now, and some of the jokes are like, oh, or I've seen it so much, maybe I just know what's coming. I don't know what it is, but I don't get the you're trying to pretty much chasing that dragon, basically, kind of like on heroin. You want to get that fix, that nostalgia fix, basically, and it doesn't work like that. But those were kind of the shows that influenced me when I was very young. When I thought stuff, when I would think what was funny or what wasn't funny. Some of it was slapstick, and some of it was clever wordplay or weird words and stuff like that. But when I moved on, I started watching stand-up comedy at a very young age also. I started watching, who was it? Patton Oswalt. I started watching Louis C.K. I started watching the Sklar Brothers. I started watching a bunch of different comedians. Paul F. Tompkins, Dane Cook, of course, because everybody was watching Dane Cook. And now I'm not so... not as he's okay, but I haven't seen anything in a while, and he's still, I'm not saying he's not funny. Everybody likes to hate on him because apparently he's an asshole or he's a douchebag to people or something. But you can only go by what people have done to you. So I tend not to judge, except for James Franco. I judge that motherfucker because I don't know what it is about him. I don't know. I don't like to hate the guy, but there's something about him I just don't like. I don't know what it is. I haven't figured it out. And everybody's like, "Oh, what about Pineapple Express?" And it's like, "Yeah, one good movie." And I'm sure Hitler wrote one good poem also, or painted one great picture. But not to say James Franco's Hitler, but whatever. Mustache there, you could. I mean, hey, it happened. I mean, weirder stuff's happened. Somebody Photoshop that for me. Anyways, the other stuff that influenced me, like comedians wise, was the UCBs, yeah, Upright Citizens Brigade. That show was hilarious. I love that show. At a very young age, I still got that show, and I loved all the jokes. And I could still go back and watch that show now, and it holds up because I have actually watched Ass Cat last night, which is UCB's live show. They do, I think they do it almost every week, I think, or every month. It's a live show they do in New York and LA, I believe, and they have a comedian or somebody come up, and somebody throws out a subject from the audience, and they talk about a life story that happened out of that subject, and then the UCB or the other improvers will try to act out a bunch of different, use a bunch of different subjects in that story to act out some funny improv scenes, and they're usually fucking hilarious. That's the thing. They're great. If you haven't watched Ass Cat on Netflix Instant Queue, you should watch it. It's ASSSSS Cat. And I think it's live after that. I don't know. I think it's just ASSSS Cat. But I would check it out. It's like a red cover with a Lucha Libre on front. You can't miss it. There's a bunch of S's on the title. I want to talk about the other stuff that kind of influenced me was, of course, Saturday Night Live, and by which generation I mean the David Spade, Chris Farley, that kind of generation, which was Mike Myers. That generation, the early '90s, I believe, or mid '90s, was awesome. I loved it. Adam Sandler was on the show, who's not so great anymore, but Chris Farley is obviously awesome. Everybody loves Chris Farley, and he's hilarious. I used to watch Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and Almost Heroes. I still watch Almost Heroes, and it makes me fucking laugh. Lewis and myself still watch it, like maybe once a month on Netflix, because it's so good. But you can almost hear the nostalgia in my voice. I love it, and I can still. I mean, we all hunt for that feeling again, and we try with different stuff. And now it seems like it's happening in society actually, where they're bringing back like Thundercats, and there's the Smurfs and Transformers, and I can go on and on. Everybody's done a commentary about, and the remakes and all the stuff that's come back. And it's some of it's great, some of it's not so great, and it's like, oh well, it seems like the producers or the director or the writer is doing this for their nostalgia's sake, which is not to blame them, because we all do stuff for our own sake. I mean, we all do stuff like that, and you can't really blame somebody for it, except when they make a shitty movie, and then you're like, what the fuck were you thinking? It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this awesome movie. It's called The Smurfs, and we've seen this. No, this is a different take on them. They're gonna be CGI and half live action. Oh no, don't do that. Just stop right now. There's the other stuff I kind of want to talk about that's influenced me. Go back to that was South Park, Reno 911. The Chappelle Show. There's a bunch of other ones. I mean, I'm only 22. I just turned 22. So a lot of these shows that have just happened are still relatively, well, I've grown up through my teen years. So it's pretty, I mean, I'd make a point, that's your most influential, that's your most, when you can, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody's going to help me out. Biggest impression can be put on you at that point. I mean, that's when you're most malleable, I guess. As a person, I mean, you have all these hormones going, these feelings, you're listening to this crazy music, there's some different music, and that's another thing I'm going to get to in just a second, music. And you get to that point where anything that you can connect with on some level is awesome, and it feels so good to connect with it, and it's great. And that's why I said a lot of these shows have reached me at that time, and that's why I hold such a dear connection to them. But I always like the seriousness of South Park and Chappelle Show and Reno 911. The seriousness of characters, yet in these crazy situations. That's kind of my what I find funny about a lot of stuff. And that's where a lot of my Pat's and mine's little quote unquote skits go, where we just break off into a small character that's not always very good. And we're trying to work on it. It's hard to do it when you're not in person. That's our argument. So it's a little bit different, and it's a little bit harder to do it on mic and to make it funny. Usually when we do it, it's funny, and we're just doing it to do it. Sorry, I burped. Now on to music, though. Music that kind of was impressive, or made an impression on me, was stuff like The Used, Aiden. Let's see what else we got on there. Actually, it's gonna be quite a weird list at some points. There was The Used, Aiden. There was Bolt for My Valentine. There was Metallica, of course. Who doesn't listen to Metallica? Cypress Hill, for some reason, even though I don't use marijuana or anything like that. That was a big one when I was a kid. I think I just liked the guy's crazy voice. There was other stuff. There's other crazy music. I mean, I can bring up some stuff now. And it kind of, and there was I can't remember the artist's name, who was a blues artist, but Johnny Lang, that's his name. Johnny Lang was another one who was a big impression on me. I loved his voice and the way he sang, and you could feel the emotion in his voice, and it was awesome. It was great. I mean, I hope everybody's found something like that means something to them, and you can really hold dear. But I want to thank you guys for listening very much, and listen to me ramble on and get nostalgia about my nostalgia. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and make sure to check out MGP, guys. Thanks again.